Peace, family. For those joining us on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be updated on new drops and content. So yeah, we hope everybody's had a good weekend and everything is going pleasant. We're just picking up on the latest in the report of ISIS bride Shamima Begum. So there's a new report that's come out online, and it says she has claimed that jihad wives have tried to firebomb her in the tent where she lives. So let's pick this report up as it's being reported on the Daily Record.uk. It says a 22-year-old who now lives in the Al-Roj refugee camp in Syria wears Western clothes after she's denounced her association with the terrorist organization. So let's see if we can check this clip out.
They are very confused and they can easily fall into things like this. And I know it's very hard for the British people to try and forgive me because, you know, they've lived in fear of ISIS. They've lost loved ones because of ISIS, but I also have lived in fear of ISIS, and I also have lost loved ones because of ISIS. So I can sympathize with them in that way. And I know that it's very hard for them to forgive me, but I say from the bottom of my heart that I am so sorry if I ever offended anyone by coming here, if I ever...
Yeah, so we believe that's an old clip, guys, taken from one of her previous interviews when speaking on wanting to return to the UK. So picking up on this report, it says a 22-year-old who now lives in the Al-Roj refugee camp in Syria wears Western clothes after denouncing her association with terrorist organization. She married the Jihadi Yago Ridijik, and the pair had 3 children together who were all killed in conflict. So Begum, whose UK citizenship was revoked in 2019 by the Home Office on the basis of national security, traveled to Syria from East London in 2015 when she was just 15 years old. So to pick up on this report, she says she's begged to return to the UK, suggesting she could help fight terrorism. And she's thought to be a prime target for ISIS after claiming she would rather die than be a member of the Daesh. I'm sorry about the pronunciation if I mispronounced that. So it says she's repeatedly made claims to return to the UK for her own safety, but so far they have been turned down, and they say devout ISIS wives have reportedly vowed to kill her, and Begum claims there was an arson attempt on her tent last week. So they say it comes in after her husband has refused to condemn the ISIS beheadings and celebrated the couple's beautiful life under the extremist group, and says he hopes to reunite with his wife and start a family once again. So apparently in the interview, he said ISIS claimed the attacks on the West were prohibited in Islam because they involved killing innocent people or something to that effect. That don't make any sense. Yeah, there's some kind of typo on this website, guys. So it says he would not criticize the group's violence against Yazidis and other Muslims. And apparently he's a 29-year-old from the Netherlands, and said he would not comment when asked to condemn the group's brutal punishments. So I haven't actually seen any pictures of this guy, but there's a lot, really going on surrounding this case at the minute. Definitely quite a controversial one. Recently, we had Aston Walker around here lending his thoughts and his voice to the situation. Do let us know your thoughts and stuff in the comments. Do you feel she should be allowed back? Apparently, according to another former jihadi bride called Tareena Shakil, she claims that Shamima Begum should not be allowed to return. So apparently Shakil, who served 6 years for terror offenses, admits that she was aware of violence from the Islamic State before traveling to Syria. So she was the first British woman to be convicted of joining Islamic State, and apparently she has suggested, this to be reported from the Telegraph, a much more credible source, that Shamima Begum should not be allowed to return to the UK because she only tried to come home after the brutal terror group had collapsed. So quite an interesting point. But Tareena Shakil 32-year-old from Birmingham, UK, traveled to Syria in 2014 with her young son in order to join Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, ISIL in the Levant or something. So it says after spending several months living under the murderous regime, she became disillusioned and escaped. She was arrested when she landed at Heathrow Airport in 2015 and was later jailed for 6 years subsequently for being a member of ISIL and encouraging acts of terror on social media. So there we see a picture of Tareena Shakil, the first British woman to be found guilty of joining the Islamic State. Now let the record reflect, it seems she did come back and flew back and was apprehended and in order to serve time. So it's been reported in her first interview since being released from prison. She said she regretted her actions but added, "I was far from the best version of myself." And they asked what should happen to other British ISIL volunteers, such as Shamima Begum, who is now appealing to return, as Shakil expressed reservations about allowing her to do so. So she spoke on an ITV documentary called Tareena Return from ISIS, and she says, "I can't sit here and say, no, don't bring them back, because that makes me a hypocrite, because I've been in a very similar situation." But she also added, "It's not the same situation because I escaped, chose to leave when ISIS were at their peak, as opposed to waiting for the fall of ISIS and then saying, I want to come home." So Shakil went on to say, having said that, there may be reasons that these people didn't escape from there. I know that it takes strength, it takes courage, like it's life and death. Not everybody has it in them to go for that. So Begum, who left the UK at 15, joined ISIL, married a jihadist fighter, and had 3 children, all of whom died, is currently being held in the detention center in the northeast Syria and is challenging the government's decision to revoke her British citizenship. So it says Shakil and Begum are among around 900 British nationals who traveled to Syria to fight for ISIL, including dozens of so-called jihadi brides. So what do you guys think of this? Here we see in this report from this person, Shakil, who says she was aware of violence. She said she was aware of the brutal executions being carried out before she decided to travel there with her 1-year-old son, and acknowledges she made a terrible mistake. She says, "I was aware of violence that had taken place at the hands of ISIS. I can't lie and say I didn't, because it was everywhere. Being aware of horrific things that were happening in that place and still decided to run away, not just on your own, but with your child, it's something that I'm happy about now looking back. But at the time, the only thing I could say that is, I was far from the best version of myself," she added. So she said it's not something she's happy about. So yeah, guys, quite an interesting one. There's a lot of developments in this story. Now we see the first ever ISIS bride come forward to dispel claims. What do you guys think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be updated on new drops and content.